Okay, the first thing we want to do when we're doing these long division problems is rewrite the problem so that it looks like a long division from arithmetic. We always put the bottom on the outside of the divide sign, and then the top goes underneath. Usually I will come out and do some side calculations over here to the right of this line. What I want to do is take the first term underneath my divide sign and divide it by the first term on the outside. Now this goes back to stuff we did earlier in this particular unit. All we're going to do is cancel out a single x from the numerator, so that gives me 5x. Now this particular term is the start of the answer to my division problem, 5x. Now I take that 5x and I'm going to multiply it by everything on the outside here, x minus 4. Go back to my distribution rules. I'm going to distribute this 5x through the parenthesis, and I get 5x squared minus 20x. Now notice that this 5x squared is the same as this 5x squared, which is what we want. If we had got something different, we would have made a mistake up in this first step here. So we take this multiplication that we just did, the distribution property, and write it directly underneath the polynomial above, and we are going to subtract now these two things. So 5x squared minus 5x squared is nothing. They completely cancel out, which is what we want to happen. Now I need to do negative 17x minus negative 20. That's a spot where a lot of people get confused, because even though this is a minus, we're subtracting a minus. And if you have to do that in the calculator, that's perfectly fine, but just remember there's always a subtract here and a negative here that we got from the distribution. So negative 17x minus negative 20x is positive 3x, and then I just bring down the plus 2. Now I start this side process all over again. I'm going to take my new first term and divide it by the first term up top again, the x on the outside. It's always the same thing on the bottom. Every time we do this, the x, that first term out here, is the same. So this x on the bottom cancels with the x on the top, and we just get 3, and it's positive. So since it's positive, I'm going to put plus 3 up here, and then I'm going to come down and do the same thing. I take that positive 3 and I'm going to distribute it through what is on the outside of my division symbol again. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. Take this entire thing, write it underneath. I need to subtract these two things, so I'm going to write those in there to remind me. 3x minus 3x is nothing. 2 minus negative 12 is 14, and again, if you have to do that in the calculator, it's fine. Just remember, a minus a negative is actually plus, and that makes that a little easier. Now, since I don't have any x's in this bottom part, that is my remainder. Since my remainder is positive, I'm going to put a plus here, and I always take my remainder and put it over my original denominator, what's on the outside here. So x minus 4 goes on bottom. So notice whatever's on the bottom in the original is always on the bottom at the end, as long as I have a remainder. So that means my final answer is 5x plus 3 plus the fraction 14 over x minus 4. Oh no. There we go. Okay, and that completes that problem. I hope that makes it a little bit more clear than it was to start with.